That pleasant boy standing behind me is a little guy named Myaku Myaku. And he is the ghost and god and deity of the special Osaka 2025 Expo. Today, we're gonna learn a little bit about the way that creature lives its life, and more about the way he can teach us to live in harmony with each other.
So around a year ago now, I got this idea in my head that I didn't have a boss and could do whatever I wanted with my life. I've always really liked YouTube travel videos and have been watching a lot of Sophia Nygaard, and I felt that perhaps she could be my future. It was this thought that brought me to the Osaka Expo in April of 2025. It's a world's fair filled with pavilions from different countries. It's all housed in this wonderful wooden circle, the largest wooden structure on Earth. It all just seemed so incredible and strange. So I went for 4 days and filmed the whole thing, and it was a pretty good time. As you can probably guess, I'm not now a travel YouTuber. I don't think this will become my job, as you'll no doubt realize as this video progresses. But I do kind of want a break from writing formal video essay type stuff, and in any case, I have so much footage, I feel like it would be a waste to not do anything with it. So you know, here we are. I'm gonna talk to you about the very strange Japanese World's Fair. Everything is going fine, everything is pretty cool. I'm just trying to find my bride in this world that's filled with fools. Everything is going cool, I am just a cool guy. Everybody's having fun, everybody's living life at the Expo, at the Expo. Yeah, at the Expo. People having fun, everybody's having fun, just having fun. Expo. So we got into Osaka on a rainy, cold evening, and I can't lie, part of me just wanted to stay in the hotel, grab a famous Japanese ramen, and rest with my soup. But in the end, the Expo was calling, and boy did we answer. First day, Osaka Expo. It's literally fucking rainy and horrible, but we're living and persevering. We ran in, and before long, we were at our first pavilion, and of course, we had to start with the French. Yeah! So the French pavilion is called Pulsations by Louis Vuitton, which, I don't like that. I don't want to be pulsed. As it turns out, they weren't lying either. The second you walk in, you're immediately greeted with a hallway that really gets the pulsations going, and it doesn't stop there. You leave that room and you find the suitcase room. Lots of Louis Vuitton suitcases with videos inside of people, you leave that room. Is that a screen with 3 dancers having a good time in Paris? If you're not pulsating by now, you better go see a doctor, get your pulse checked. Cause girl, I was actually going crazy at this point. You leave the dancers and oh my god, there's an escalator with leaves around. You get out, that's nature. You walk around the corner, big glass grapes.
This is my favorite part.
But I don't even care about the grapes. I don't have time for that, cause whoops, now I'm in the white dress room. After that, I got a little more pulsation, and then we're done. That's what the French did. So look, I don't mean this as a critique of the French pavilion. I mean, they had a gargoyle straight from Notre Dame standing in front of a Princess Mononoke backdrop. That's pretty cool, right? Still, this first pavilion kind of disabused me of some of my fantasies for what this expo might be like. I didn't look into what they had on offer much before going. I wanted to be surprised. And I had this idea in my head of like a World's Fair. There's that movie, Meet Me in St. Louis, all about that World's Fair at the turn of the century. I often think of the wonderful scene at the end where all of the characters are saying,
"There's never been anything like it in the whole world."
We don't have to come here on a train or stay in a hotel. It's right in our own hometown.
Grandpa,
They'll never tear it down, will they?
Well, they'd better not.
And you really feel what the weight of that would have been, to have gotten to see so many new things, so much technology, so much life and joy and craziness right in your backyard. Imagine being there, man. That shit would have been crazy. The Osaka Expo really isn't like that. Instead of debuting new technology or rides or whatever, the pavilions are more like a sequence of advertising campaigns for their respective countries. And in the case of France, it's a literal advertising campaign for Louis Vuitton. The different rooms and pulsations are art, of course, but the art feels very corporate, very detached and Instagram-y. Again, I genuinely don't say any of this to be cynical or negative. I love commercial nonsense and was frankly invigorated by the grapes. But still, it was a bit of a readjustment for me. Anyway, I'm an American, so just guess where I went next. The American Pavilion. And I love the American Pavilion. I'm just a little guy who's trying to have lots of fun, Osaka Expo, wanting all the pleasures that my mother always denied me. So we walked in and were introduced to America's special expo goddess named Spark.
Welcome everyone to the USA Pavilion. I'm Spark.
And she sings this song over a slideshow of photographs. I love her. I love her tune. We walked down a hallway filled with beautiful photos, including this gem of Marco Rubio sitting with some truly unhappy children. And then we found ourselves at the real start of the pavilion, a big room with a friendly man in it who introduces us to Spark.
And it all starts with a spark of imagination.
Hello, friends.
Hey, Spark. Hey, can you help our friends imagine what's possible when we create together?
So one funny thing is that this man actually recognized me. I don't have it on camera, but when I walked into the room, he was like, "Oh, cool, is that Big Joel? You know, I like your videos, whatever."
Thank you guys so much for stopping by today.
Thank you.
It was one of my favorite ever experiences with someone familiar with my videos, and that's partly because when he recognized me, like 6 or 7 Japanese people turned around, presumably thinking that some celebrity was in the room, only to see that, you know, they had no idea who I was and turned around. Anyway, we saw Spark sing with photos on one screen, but just imagine what it would be like to see her singing on multiple screens over stock video of like AI and technological innovations and stuff. Let's go. Okay, now we walked into a different room and things got very space oriented. There's a moon rock, which is pretty cool, and there's a blast off right into space. Oh my god, is that Spark? After that, the audience is treated to another stock video montage over the Spark anthem, and that's kind of it. That's America. And you know what, man? Good for us. So look, obviously the USA Pavilion is cheesy, but I really do think it's kind of wonderful and such an interesting example of the way America advertises itself, how we wish to be seen through the international eye. As we'll see throughout this video, most of these pavilions, including the French one, want to instill us with some idea of a national character. This is what it means to be Chinese or Romanian or whatever. But America here is not depicted as a culture, but as a kind of glorious corporate entity, a faceless, colorless organization that just makes fun stuff. Of course, many people today, all across the aisle, have disdain for this imagined America. To lots of conservatives, for example, America isn't a diffuse economic body, but a people, a folk, whose interests often exist at cross purposes with the spirit of plurality and international collaboration. This is the underlying thought behind the somewhat common conservative mantra, America is not an idea.
But America is not just an idea. It is a group of people with a shared history and a common future.
It's weird then, almost nostalgic, to see America presented so shamelessly in these terms. Spark is America's mascot because she is so generic and inclusive, because she is the embodiment of liberal global capitalism, and she loves it. She loves her life. So in some way, it was fortunate that the first day of the expo was so rainy because hardly anyone was actually there, and we got to do whatever big name pavilions we wanted to. France and USA were both big draws that we managed to get into with basically no line at all. And even though the Japan pavilion had been booked for weeks in a convoluted and annoying reservation system, there was only a short line when we actually got there. That's right, baby. It's time for Japan pavilion. Hope you're feeling good today. You look so good, I wouldn't wanna have it any other way. Feeling so good tonight. Don't wanna worry about all the people fighting in the streets. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Japan pavilion. Japan pavilion. Japan pavilion. Japan pavilion. Japan pavilion. There's a lot to the Japanese pavilion, like it's a huge space, but for the most part, it's trying to be like a fictional laboratory from the future where Japan synthesizes cool future technology, usually algae-related technology. Like here's the cute conveyor belt where waste is transformed into origami, or the facility where algae will grow, or the lab where people will synthesize algae with the help of robots. It's also immersive and really feels like it lives up to that Meet Me in St. Louis vision I had for the expo. It's super aesthetically appealing too. Like this is a space you just walk into in the middle of the pavilion and Jesus, you know? Wow. Also, I buried the lead here a bit because the obvious highlight of the pavilion is the Hello Kitty modeled algae creatures.
Wow, they're all kinds of cool guys.
Now just look at those ladies and try to tell me that you don't believe in Japan's algae future. If you go on the Osaka Expo website, you'll see that the two stated goals of the event are 1. To contribute to the achievement of Sustainable Development Goals, and 2. The achievement of Japan's National Strategy 5.0. That second bit is kind of complicated. Japan's National Social Strategy 5.0 is to have, quote, a human-centered society in which economic development and the resolution of social issues are compatible with each other through a highly integrated system of cyberspace and physical space. Which, you know, that sounds awesome, guys. Can't wait. But the first goal is easy enough to understand. The expo is about sustainability. That might come as a surprise to you. Neither the French nor American pavilions had much of anything by way of environmental talk, and as we'll see in the video to come, only a few of the pavilions do. All this to say, it's kind of funny that Japan's very own pavilion is one of the only ones in the whole expo that cares about the stated goal of the expo. And I liked it, you know, I thought they did a good job. So after the Japan pavilion, I was pooped out. We went to our hotel, rested up, and got ready for another day in paradise. On the second day of the Osaka Expo, it was obvious what we had to do. Check out Jordan, the Jordan Pavilion. Welcome, fuckers, to the kingdom of time. I feel something changing. I feel something changing. I feel something changing. I feel something changing in me. After like a 20-minute line, we walked in. A tour guide was talking about some Jordanian objects they have, like this little guy over here. It was pretty fun, but nothing compared to what was about to happen to me. The sand room. You walk in and sand is all around you. It's sand straight from Jordan. They flew in the sand. You can sit in the sand, you can rest in the sand, you can take off your shoes and feel the cool sand on your toesies. Then what happens? Well, there's a video that shows many Jordanian landscapes. That's most of the pavilion, this video. So on the second day of our time at the expo, something interesting happened. Dan Olson, famed video man, joined us.
I can kill him now.
Not in front of the Maku.
He was just visiting Japan on vacation, and when I told him to head on down to the Osaka Expo and hang out with me, that's what he did. And look how happy we are. Those goddesses, by the way, are the German mascots, and don't they look like kind creatures?
Hello. Hello, can I touch you? Womp. Yay. Hey, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you. Oh my god, hello.
Dan is a Canadian type guy, and I just think he may have been missing home because the first thing we did together was head down to the Canada Pavilion. And by the way, I just want to let this be known, I didn't get to skip the line to get into the USA Pavilion. I had to wait in that shit. But with Canada, all bets were off. We didn't wait for 1 second. A nice Quebec woman let us right in. No line. That's just how Canadians treat each other, I guess. And to me, honestly, I think that's fucked up. Anyway, the Canada Pavilion was sick, like one of my favorites in the whole expo. It's a really simple idea. You walk in and see all these cold, empty glaciers. You have an iPad though, and through that, you see the world come alive. Trains and planes traveling, wildlife, First Nations people fishing and doing jingle dances. That's it, that's the whole idea. When you go on the official expo website, you see the official interpretation of this piece. The concept of the Canada Pavilion is regeneration. It is inspired by the thawing of frozen waterways at the onset of spring. The pavilion's exterior architecture represents a natural phenomenon seen in Canada called an ice jam, when ice on the surface of a river melts and flows, creating intriguing ephemeral ice formations. In contrast to the icy exterior, the interior will express Canada's warmth, openness, and optimism. And I find that interpretation so interesting because to me, the pavilion was way more melancholic than anything else. Looking at this barren landscape through the tablet, it feels like looking into the past, a vibrant and beautiful place that is now gone, forgotten. What got us here? That seems to be the implicit question of the piece. Why is all that remains fractured memories that you can only see if you point your iPad the right way? Anyway, I really liked it. I like how there's nothing to it but this one ambiguous idea. It all feels very high art to me in a way that the other pavilions didn't really aspire to. So I have something to confess to you. The thing I was excited for most in the Osaka Expo wasn't any pavilion, it wasn't the big wooden circle, no, it was 7-Eleven. If you're not aware, 7-Eleven in Japan is quite different from its American equivalent. It has nicer food and a bigger selection and lots of good sandwiches. In particular, the 7-Eleven egg salad sandwich is quite a hit, at least among Western visitors. Anyway, there have got to be thousands of videos where people go to different convenience stores in Japan. It's an aspect of Japanese culture that Westerners are very taken with, and so when I learned that the Osaka Expo was supposed to have the 7-Eleven of the future, I thought this is my chance. I'll have the scoop on the new fancy konbini, and everyone will go crazy to watch it. I didn't, as it turns out, read the fine print. Because while it's true that this was to be the 7-Eleven of the future, what the expo meant is that it would be the 7-Eleven of 2030, 5 glorious years from now. Not much, as it turns out, is gonna change. It's 7-Eleven, except now there's things you can order on iPads, and they have kind of mid-looking pizza and yummy-looking taiyaki, neither of which I actually tried. I think they may have been sold out of the warm taiyaki because I really can't imagine not buying such a thing. Also, they have these tablets on wheels called Numis. When I went to the store, they were all docked, so I didn't get to see them move or do anything. And I really have no idea what they're there for. On the Expo site, it says that, quote, operated remotely by staff from another room, this robot provides a futuristic, smooth, and engaging shopping experience. And to be honest with you, I don't know what that means. What are these guys gonna do? How are they going to assist me? I couldn't find a single video of an actual person interacting with a machine, but I did find one promotional campaign where a guy talks to one.
何ジェロさん、これはですね、何ですか？ニューミーと呼ばれる遠隔のロボット。
He doesn't do anything with it though, so I don't know what to say. New me coming to a 7-Eleven near you, I guess. Anyway, a bit disappointed that I couldn't meaningfully add to the canon of American YouTubers talking about konbinis. I got myself a smoothie. and left. So after that, we sat down with Dan and ate some sausages. He was really invested in finding and eating sausages for some reason.
Out of 10, how good is that sausage? 7.
And you know, he found them, and then we parted ways. He had to go back to his vacation. Next stop for us, though, Gundam. Yeah, there's a Gundam pavilion at the Osaka Expo. Who's the robot who treats you so nice? Makes you feel like you're in paradise. He's the robot with a soul. I imagine that for a lot of Gundam heads, that's probably the pavilion you'd be most interested in, and it does seem pretty cool. I like these robot guys, X and Po, who blast us into space where the Gundam are. Here's the thing though, I don't know anything about Gundam and I don't speak Japanese, and after the introductory remarks, nothing was subtitled. To be clear, I'm not blaming anyone for that. I was in Japan, you know, Japanese is to be expected, but all the same, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't understand the stakes of the Gundam story. At one point, it seems like a Gundam does something quite important, perhaps the King Gundam intervenes to prevent crisis, but I'm not sure exactly what happened. All I'll say is this, those Gundams shot me up way into space and they got me down safe and sound, and for that reason, I'll always love Gundam and be thankful to Gundam. After that, we went home and rested. So day 3 was kind of a lazy day for us. I felt kind of pavilioned out, and so we just spent a lot of our time walking around and looking at the buildings. That's the thing about the Osaka Expo though, while the insides of the pavilions can be cool, the outsides are universally way cooler. Look at this crazy mirror pavilion I didn't go to, or look at the huge Gundam. The whole place has a wonderful gargantuan energy, and without a doubt the most fun thing to do is just go to a high place and look at everything. It's the beauty of the Austrian pavilion, in fact. Its gorgeous winding wooden structure that made me feel like I had to visit. My first pav of the day. What a wonderful feeling I've been having. It stunk, you know, if you want my honest opinion, there it is. I think it's a stinky pavilion. It was just a room with a slideshow and some music. It actually kind of made me mad for some reason. Like, it starts off kind of fun, really leaning into the whole music thing, but then what's that? Oh, more stock pics and footage. Let's jazz things up a bit, guys. You know, put on an outfit, get me dancing. Do something, you know, do something to excite my palate. So we left Austria and went to one of the Expo's largest and most prestigious pavilions, China. Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion, girl? Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion, girl? Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion, girl? Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion, girl? You walk in, oh my god, is that the moon and stars? You go in a little bit further and wow, that's a video of a tiger next to a cute animated tiger. That's what I want to see. Oh my god, is that a big zodiac circle? That's what we call grand. That's a pavilion, boys. They also have this like 5-minute film where they go through a day in the life of China, and I really enjoyed it. I don't know the extent to which the film was AI generated, but to the extent I could tell that it used AI, it was a bit repulsive. I mean, look at this man's face. But I'm not gonna let that stop me from enjoying the pleasure of a Chinese day. You guys know what I mean. On the topic of AI, China also featured this AI chatbot, a kind of god, it seems like. You're supposed to get advice from him.
I find myself very, very attracted to him.
I'm not gonna lie to you, this little fuck was one of my favorite experiences in the whole expo.
Ask, and I shall answer with wisdom and mirth.
My daughter's very sick, and I'd like you to heal her, please.
I am but a humble monkey, though filled with celestial might, while I possess the power to conjure storms and part seas. Healing is beyond my grasp.
Okay.
Fear not.
Okay. Yeah.
Sort of saw that one coming, but anyway, all things considered, the China Pavilion was just okay. It was big and had a lot going on, but I think I prefer a more focused pavilion. I don't need 18 screens showing me a CGI render of the China from the future. I need the monkey god to tell me that my daughter is gonna be okay. even if he doesn't know.
Remember, even the mightiest of us have our limits.
Yeah. Thank you.
Anyway, that's the end of day 3. We got there late. I don't know what to tell you. Day 4, the final day. I was so sleepy, but like a beautiful soldier, I went to the expo anyway. Our first stop, South Korea. If you wanna dance with me, you gotta dance real cool. Gotta show off your moves, girl. Gotta take it real slow. Girl, do a flip, do a do-si-do. Wanna see that shit, wanna have some fun, oh no. So let me walk you through the Korea Pavilion carefully, because all of this is very important and narrative. So before people get into the pavilion, they have to answer some question with one word.
What's the question?
I did a bad job at this because I accidentally skipped the question, but that's not important. The reason the machine asks you these questions is so they can incorporate those words into an AI song. And now it's my great honor to play for you some of what I take to no doubt be the future of music. Dude, who popped off with this track? I'm literally vibing right now. Oh man, that's Korea Pavilion AI music, dude. And they've been popping off lately. Okay, so after that startling event, the technology of the future today, we all needed a break. So the next room is all about what if not technology? What if not phone? There are like rocks and greenery and stuff. There's a pipe that you're supposed to blow into, but I forget why.
It kind of grosses me out a little bit to blow into the pipe.
Blow.
There's a wall that has like a busted TV in it, and it makes you reflect on the role of TV in your own life. So okay, we have our thesis and our antithesis. Technology run amok, and a reminder of nature and the destruction of technology. So what's our synthesis? Well, a normal K-pop song about how phone, pretty good, pretty okay. The story of the song is that some girl in the year 2040 goes through her father's phone and gets to connect to the memories it stores. And it's fine. I don't know much about K-pop. I've probably heard around 5 K-pop songs in my life, but I'd say that the song is pretty average and generic. It's no Monster by EXO, but it doesn't make me sick either. It's not as good as the Spark anthem, that's for sure. But it's fine, it doesn't hurt me. And that's it, that's the Korean Pavilion. Kind of a letdown, honestly. The AI song was pretty boring, and the nature room thing was pretty boring, and they both just felt like lead up to a kind of boring music video. But it was okay, you know, I'm not trying to be too cruel to darling Korea. I think perhaps my expectations were just set a bit high. Anyway, on to the German Pavilion we went. I think God took me to the German Pavilion that day. Oh no. I think Jesus Christ took me to the German Pavilion. German Pavilion, yeah, yeah. I think God was responsible for me being in the German Pavilion. He sit me down and told me that he works in mysterious ways. So I'm a third generation Austrian and German immigrant. We don't need to talk about what happened there, like I'm not mad or anything, I'm just trying to have a nice expo day. The point though is that whatever objection they may have had to this, I do feel a kind of kinship with the German people, and we'll be speaking about them here with a kind of unearned authority.
Here in Germany, we wanted to create the first dog who could do all the talking. This became very difficult. If you are familiar at all with SpongeBob SquarePants, you will no doubt enjoy what we have to offer today at the German Pavilion.
So I could be wrong, but I think of Germans as a people with a very earnest character, and for me, their pavilion expresses that just really well. The main gimmick of the German Pav is that there's a little toy guy you pick up at the start of the expo. I can't remember his name, so I'll just call it the Glong. So I love the Glong. I like his design. It's very German, trying to be Japanese in a cute way. I like that they can literally kiss and make love. But what do you think the point of the Glong is? Well, she's She's basically just an audio guide who tells you about all the infrastructure they're building in Germany. I'm not good at my new job as a travel vlogger, so while I did attempt to catch what she was saying on film, it's really hard to make out any of it. Please just trust me that she is talking about recycling and roads and stuff, while you look at German infrastructure-related graphics. And look, I'm not criticizing. This is one of the only non-Japan pavilions to really go full hog with the environmental stuff, and that's cool to me. But to me, it just speaks to the kind of fundamental tension in what this expo is and what it's trying to do. On one hand, the Glong feels silly and fun, and you can easily imagine a little cartoon with her, maybe some jokes or something. But that's not appropriate, not at this expo. We're really here to figure out if we want to invest in German renewable energy, and you know what? I do. And here we come to our final pavilion, Romania, and what a great way to end things. Romania! Romania! We walked in and saw this bird creature who was saying some pretty interesting stuff.
Nature inspires us to protect lives.
I mean, I think we should probably keep an eye on this guy. Then there's more evocative and strange voiceover, but this time not from the bird.
Romania is a living muscular organism that can save the lives of millions of people from all over the world.
Romania is a living muscular organism who can save the lives of millions of people from all over the world? Damn, I hadn't thought of it like that. After that, we got a special treat, an opera singer sang this beautiful song. And after having so many pavilions defined by screens, it really just felt like a highlight of the whole expo. You know, I guess that's kind of the issue with a modern World's Fair, one that wants to show us what the future will look like. The future, from the average consumer's perspective, is very screen-oriented. People like to talk about phones and the internet and AI. And I'm not shitting on that stuff, not all of it anyway. I mean, the internet's pretty cool, I like that, I like my phone. But it's just very diffuse, isn't it? We don't need to go somewhere to see fun footage of China, we can see it at home. You don't really need to go to the Korea Pavilion. It's a little movie, you can watch it on YouTube. It's about how phones are good. I guess it's just nice to see something a little more personal and direct, and so I really like the Romania Pavilion. After that, we looked at some cool Romanian crafts and then left the expo. That was my experience. So the Osaka Expo is still on. It concludes on October 13th. After that, everything goes. It even seems that the giant wooden ring will be largely demolished, making room for a casino and resort. I find that a bit sad personally. I loved the big ring, though I suppose the cost of maintaining the entirety of such a behemoth, must be exorbitant. I suppose one question you might ask is, should I go? Should I grab a last-minute flight to Osaka to get a glimpse of the World's Fair before it goes away forever? And my answer is, I don't know, you could probably pass. Japan is an awesome country, and there's so much cool, fun stuff to do there, so I definitely wouldn't devote a full 14-hour plane trip to the experience. I worry, though, that answer, don't bother going, makes my opinion of the expo out to be a very negative one, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. I think back really fondly on my 4 days there, and honestly got more out of it than I thought I would. While many of the pavilions felt a bit perfunctory, the whole place was just exciting and cool. When I was there, it was the opening days, and everyone, especially the staff, just seemed really excited to be there to introduce people to their culture. It was fun and joyful, and Maku was there. I had a good time at Osaka Expo 2025, and if you're going to be in Osaka in the next month, it's a fun place to spend an afternoon. Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion, girl? Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion, girl? Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion, girl? Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion, girl? Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion, girl? Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion? Girl, 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 girl. Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion? Girl. Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion? Girl. Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion? Girl. Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion? Girl. Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion? Girl. Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion? Girl. Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion? Girl. Why did you leave me at the Chinese pavilion? Girl.